minutes, I will alert you.
Yeah, maybe. So,
Oh
okay.
my god.
Here's the.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's
So
what I'm
this
saying.
this is the story of the tramp and the holiday. Tramp like lady
Oh
and the
god.
tramp not like whore. So
It's not a joke you
Right.
need to hear.
so one day the tramp living in his park as he does in the dead of winter. There's a frozen over lake and he looks over and he sees a young girl walking on the ice when it gives and she falls in and he runs over and he jumps in after her and he pulls her out of the water onto the shore and this dude in a suit walks up and he's like, oh my god, thank you so much for saving my daughter, like I have to give you some kind of reward. And the tramp's like, no, it's fine, it was just the right thing to do and blah blah. And the business guy is like, no dude, seriously, I'm like a dumb rich multi-billionaire oil tycoon, money is not a question, you want it, it's yours. And the tramp thinks for a minute and he goes like, you know what? I've never had a holiday, so I'll take one of your finest holidays. And the guy goes like, deal. So he writes him up this custom ticket for a cruise his company's having in a couple of days, like real 5-star, all expenses paid, luxury, blah blah blah. So, the tramp's like, oh boy, this is gonna be fantastic, thank you so much. And the business guy's like, hey, you earned it. So a couple days go by and the tramp's getting ready for his holiday and he packs up his stuff and he heads on over to the docks and he gets there and he goes to board the ship. And like I said, this is a real fancy cruise liner. People are wearing like nice fucking like white suits and like fancy dresses. It's real James Bond looking, everybody getting on there. And here comes this homeless guy. So the guy who's like checking everybody's ticket stops him and goes like, yeah, okay, yeah, no, I'm gonna need you to get the hell out of here. And the tramp's like, no, I got this ticket and everything, and shows the guy the ticket. And the guy's like, hold on a second, I'm gonna go get the captain. So he gets the captain and he comes back. And the captain looks at the ticket and he looks at the tramp and he looks at the ticket and he looks at the tramp again and he goes like, okay, yeah. He's like, I got a room for you. Come on aboard. And so, they get on board the ship. And this is about the part where Kahuna told me to cut it down. So,
Yeah, at the 2-minute mark.
so they get on the ship and the captain's showing him around. And now you get to hear the full version. So the captain's showing him around. And, they walk by the pool and the tramp's looking at the pool like, oh my god, like look at this clean sparkling water, I can swim around when it's gonna be great. And the captain's like, okay, so there's a few rules I gotta tell you about. And the tramp goes like, okay. So the captain's like, yeah, no swimming in the pool, it's the chlorine levels are off, so yeah, I'm gonna need you to not swim in the pool. And the tramp was like, oh well, I mean, okay, that's kind of a bummer, but there's more stuff to do. So they're walking along and they get to like the big area where they have like all the games and stuff, like they got badminton and shuffleboard and whatever else you have on a cruise ship.
The big area with the games.
So the captain's like, okay, but here's the deal, like we don't have any of the equipment to play any of this stuff, so I'm gonna need you to like
That's what I'm saying.
not come up here because it's pointless. And the tramp's like, okay, well, that sucks, but hey, still more to look forward to.
I like how the captain's just like, you know what, man, like we actually don't have anything to offer you.
So it makes sense later in the joke. Give it another couple minutes. So they get to they get to the kitchen.
Give it a few more episodes, it'll build.
That's what I'm saying.
This is the build up to the finale. So
Fucking Band Brothers so long.
So they get to the kitchen and the tramp's like looking at all the chefs as they're busy at work preparing all the food and stuff. And the captain's like, okay, so next rule, no eating anything at the buffet. There's a wicked case of like food poisoning going around, so this food's no good. They're working on getting rid of it and they have to make new food, so don't come up here for a while. And the tramp's at this point is starting to kind of be like, okay, well, yeah, all right, I guess. So the tramp's like, how about you just take me to my room? The captain's like, yeah, sure, no problem, I got a room for you. So they start heading down the stairs past the first class cabins and the second class cabins and the third class cabins, and then past like all of the internals of the ship. Yeah. So
internals.
I meant to say internals.
I think that
The
sounds
storytelling
right.
is top notch.
So, no joke, I had everybody in my EMT class tell me I was a great storyteller. So, they telling this exact joke actually. So we so they pass by like the engines and like the all the other insides of the ship, and they finally get all the way down to the like the crew quarters. You get the idea here. So they get down to the bottom of the ship, the very bottom of the ship.
Don't let me explain it to you. You'll figure it out.
Use your imagination. So I don't know shit about cruise ships. So, the music room, the crew quarters.
The big area with the games.
The big area with the books. So they get to the bottom of the ship. They get to the bottom of the ship, and also rest assured that
5 minutes 49 seconds.
Okay, a lot of that's just been me stopping to laugh. So, and by a lot I mean maybe a minute. So they get to the bottom of the ship, and the captain shows them to what I can only describe as like a Harry Potter closet. It's like barely a cot, the floor's kind of wet, and it just sucks. But the tramp, having slept outside his whole life, basically, is like, oh wow, this is fantastic, great, A+. I'm excited for this cruise. Everything's gonna be great.
A+.
I'm gonna hang out. And the captain's like, okay, so we'll come get you when all that stuff's ready. You just wait here and don't come out until someone gets you. And the tramp's like, all right, sounds good. So the tramp's waiting in his room, and he takes a nap and just kind of hangs out. And several hours go by, and he's like, man, they're taking a while on this. Maybe I'm gonna go check see how they're doing. So he heads up to the top of the deck, and he sees, people are eating at the buffet, so he's like, oh man, like all the food's ready, and he starts chowing down at the buffet, causing like a whole scene, doesn't even have a plate, just like munching down, right? And everybody's like looking at him like, what the fuck?
It.
Yeah, basically, like in his hands, like as he's eating, walking towards more food. And then he goes over to the big area with the games, and he starts like seeing people playing badminton and like volleyball and shuffleboard, and he's like, oh shit, and he's never played any of it, so he just kind of grabs a ball and he starts like smacking it around with a racket and causing a huge ruckus, and everybody again is like starting to get really pissed off at this guy. And then he moves on to the pool, and he's like jumping in, doing cannonballs and laughing and shouting, having a grand old time while everybody else is just trying to enjoy this nice relaxing cruise. And finally the captain catches wind of him causing all this ruckus and runs out there. And the captain's like, hey, I thought I told you not to leave your room until I came and got you. And the tramp's like, yeah, but I thought that since everything was ready that like, and the captain goes like, no, see, you broke my rules. So now we got to make a deal here. And he's like, you're going to go back to your room, and you're going to come back out after I send someone to get you this time, and you're going to do something for me. And the tramp's like, okay. So he goes back down to his room and he waits. And after about an hour, somebody comes and gets him, and they head up to the top of the deck where the pool is. And constructed next to the pool is a ladder, like a ridiculous proportioned ladder, like Looney Tunes proportions. It's like way up, unseeable at the top in the sky. And the captain's like, so here's the deal. You climb up to the top of this diving board, you jump into this pool, and he's like, hell, if you do that, I'll let you be captain of this ship. So the tramp says, deal. So he climbs up this ladder, and like I said, Looney Tunes proportions. How long have I been telling this joke, Kahuna?
Oh
what am I at?
8 minutes and 37 seconds. I'm gonna
So
shoot myself.
it takes him 8 minutes and 37 seconds to climb up to the top of this ladder, and he finally does, and he peers over.
It's not a very high ladder. It's not a very high ladder.
How high do you think a ladder would have to be for you to take 8.5 minutes to climb it?
Climb? That's what I'm wondering.
8.5 minutes.
Not a very tall ladder.
Anyway, so he gets to the top of this ladder and he peers over, and the ship is barely a speck, and he takes a deep breath and he jumps, and he falls all the way down to the pool, where he crashes into the pool all the way through the bottom and through the first class cabins and the second class cabins and everything else, the internally of the ship. And he finally comes to stop in the bottom of the ship in his room. And everybody else has like gathered around the pool, and they're like looking down this hole, like everybody starts this commotion amongst themselves about whether or not they just watched some guy die, when he kicks the door open, and the tramp stands there triumphantly, and everybody bursts into cheers, and the captain runs over and starts shaking his hand, and it's like, oh my god, that's the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life. How did you do that? How could you have possibly survived that? And the tramp says, well, captain, in my life I've been through many a hardship.